Hello dear students of the Prep Science. Let's go to start our episode today as we have to complete the first lesson as we talk about here the speed. As we have to know the types of speed, as we have two types of speed, uniform and non-uniform speed, as we see here on the monitor. زي ما نشوف مع بعض types of speed. يلا نبدأ مع بعض الليسن بتاعنا. أول حاجة بيقول لي types of speed. We have two types. Number one is uniform speed and number two is non-uniform speed. Uniform speed, which means سرعة منتظمة, or constant speed. We can say constant speed instead of uniform speed or regular speed. Okay? And we have on the other side here we have non-uniform speed or irregular speed. So if you want to define here uniform speed, so we should know we have two factors affecting speed. We have what and what? We have distance and we have time. So if you want to define speed here, we have to know, as you see, زي ما هنشوف دلوقتي مع بعض, what? Body covered أو object that covers equal distances at equal periods of time. تاني, object that covers equal distances at equal periods of time. يعني بيمشي مسافات متساوية في أزمنة متساوية. And we can illustrate أو represent the relation between distance and time in this graph أو by using graph as on the right side زي ما احنا شايفين كده. على يمنا distance and time graph of distance and time. So we talk about speed, but here we talk about uniform speed as we have زي ما احنا هنشوف دلوقتي قدامنا مع بعض. هنا عندنا distance and time, يعني واحد للديستنس, هنا التاني هيبقى للتايم, مش distance وتايم. And we have uniform speed because the body covered equal distances at equal periods of time. Okay, dear students, let's go to take a little break, then we return back. Welcome back, dear students. Let's go to complete our lesson today as we have to talk about the side or the other side. We have the non-uniform speed or irregular speed. As we see here, زي ما نشوف مع بعض, we have uniform on the, لو سمحتوا هنا ممكن, uniform speed and non-uniform speed. طبعا قلنا uniform speed object that covers equal distances at أو in equal periods of time. And we can represent the relation between distance and time in this graph by using a straight line passes through the origin point. So if we have give reason for, we can answer by using the definition. هنجاوب بالدefinition. هيقول لي give reason for the uniform speed graph is represented by straight line passes through the origin point, because the body covers equal distances at equal periods of time. The second type here we have non-uniform speed or irregular speed. Non-uniform speed or irregular speed. In this case we have the opposite definition as we should know. ازاي هنعرف definition هنا؟ اقول له objects that covers what? Unequal distances in equal periods of time. Again, in this case the object covers what? هيمشي ازاي او covers what؟ هقول له covers unequal distances at او in equal periods of time. Or the opposite, ممكن اقولها بطريقة تانية. How come؟ هقول له equal distances at what? Unequal periods of time. We can use one of them is equal and the other is unequal periods of time. Okay? يبقى أنا now we can differentiate between speed as uniform and the non-uniform speed. So here we have a give reason for. It is hard to measure a regular or uniform speed practically. من الصعب إن إحنا أو to measure a regular or uniform speed practically. واقعيا. So here why? أقول له because or due to the traffic motion or the traffic conditions. بسبب المرور. We can't move with what? regular speed. ما نقدرش نمشي ب regular speed practically عمليا يعني due to traffic motion. Next point in our lesson, we have here average speed. We use average speed to measure the speed of body or object move with non-uniform speed. In this case, we use average speed. Average speed, which means what? Here we have average speed, total distances, or total distance covered over divided by the total time taken. So we have to calculate here, هنحسب total distances covered by the object divided by total time taken. How come? ازاي نقدر نحسبها؟ If the object, as you see here, هنشوف كده مع بعض, moves from point A, for example, to point B, covers 30 meters in 2 seconds. Then from point B to point C in this direction. In this case, or in this time, covers 20 meters in 1 second. So the object in this case covered unequal distances and unequal periods of time. So how can we calculate the speed of this object? ازاي نقدر نحسبها? So we use in this case average speed as V dash, average speed. Total distances covered over total time taken to cover this distance. So here we have TD over TT, which means total distance over total time. So we have 30 plus 20 over 2 plus 1. So we have 50 over 3. In this case, about, we have measuring unit here is meter, and the measuring unit of time here is second. So the total or the result عندي هتبقى about يعني 13.3 meter per second, because we use here this measuring unit to calculate the average speed or any type of speed. So now نقدر to know the mathematical law from the definition, as we have total distance covered over total time taken to cover this distance by using what? By using average speed or V dash. Okay, we have here a problem. A body covers 20 meter northward. خلي بالنا, we should know the directions here. Northward, then 20 meters northward, then through 3 seconds, then covered 40 meters eastwards within 20 or 2 seconds, then covered 20 meters southward within 4 seconds, then covered how many? 10 meters eastward with 5 seconds. Calculate its average speed. How can we calculate the average speed? Body covers 20 meters northward, يبقى هتحرك كده A 20 meters northward شمالا زي ما بنقول in how many? In 3 seconds. Okay, then 40 meters eastward شرقا 2 seconds, then 20 meters southwards جنوبا 20 meters in 4 seconds, then covered 10 meters what? Westward يعني غربا رجع تاني in 5 seconds. So how can we calculate in this case the average speed? As we have total distance covered V dash over total time taken. So we have how many distances here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 20 plus 40 plus 20 plus 10 over what? 3 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5. So we can calculate the average speed as 20 plus 40 equals 60 plus 20 equal 80 plus 10 equal 90. يبقى distance يبقى v dash equal 90 over what? 3 plus 2 equal 5. 5 plus 4 equal 9 and 9 plus 5 equal 14. So we can use calculator here. 90 over 14 اهو 90 over 14 equal how many? Equal 6.4 meter per second. So now we can use the total distance over total time taken to cover this distance to measure the average speed. Here we have, as we have this problem, احنا حليناها طبعا مع بعض. 40 meter 3 seconds, then 40 meters 2 seconds, and so on. Then we have, dear students, relative speed. السرعة نسبية، يعني سرعتك بالنسبة لسرعتي أو my speed to أو relative to your speed. Here we have to know how can we define the relative speed as speed of an object relative to another object. يبقى we have to define the relative speed as speed of an object relative to another object. أهو moving object relative to the observer or another object. Observer here, which means the other object. So if the two objects in the same direction, when the objects move in the same direction, in this case we subtract the two speeds from each other. يعني relative speed of car هنا of car A to car B. Again هنقول كده relative speed of car A relative to car B. In this case we subtract because they are in the same direction. يبقى VA minus VB. يعني اهو VA minus VB يبقى 40 minus 30 equal 10 meter per second. The speed of A relative to speed of B. Okay, يعني سرعة A بالنسبة ل B. If they are in the same direction. Relative speed of car B to car A. يبقى مين we use what? يبقى VB minus VA. So VB equal how many? 30 meter per second. VA equal 40 meter per second. So we have 30 minus 40 equal negative 10 meter per second. So we talk about relative speed. Again بكررها تاني. We talk about relative speed. Speed of an object relative to another. If they are in the same direction, لو هم في نفس direction أو الاتجاه, we subtract. What from what? اللي هطلبه الأول. يعني relative speed of A to B. So we have 40 speed of A minus 30 meter per second speed of B. So we have 10 meter per second as you see. If we have relative speed of B to A, so we use VB minus VA. If they are in the same direction. بكررها تاني. But if the objects in the opposite direction, لو هم في opposite direction يعني عكس بعض. We have here VA 50 meter per second زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا, and VB 80 meter per second. So the relative speed in this case equal what? Summation. هجمعهم because they are in the opposite, in the what? In the opposite direction. So VA plus VB. So 50 plus 80 equal 130 meter per second. If we want to calculate what? Relative speed of car B relative to car A, we have B VB plus VA. طبعا 80 plus 50 equal 130 meter per second. We have no problem if the two objects move in the same, in the opposite direction. أهو. We sum أو summation of VA plus VB. فمش هتفرق. 1 plus 2 as 2 plus 1. But if the two objects in the opposite direction, we should calculate V as request اللي أنا هطلبه. V محمد relative to V عمر. يبقى V محمد minus V عمر طب في عمر relative to في محمد او speed of عمر relative to speed of محمد، يبقى في عمر minus في محمد because they are in the same direction. If we have opposite direction we make أو use the summation of the two speeds together. Okay? طيب test yourself because we finish first lesson. احنا خلصنا الحمد لله first lesson. As we have عندنا أول question بيقول write the scientific term the distance that a moving object cover within a time unit. We have here distance and we have time. So we talk about speed. Next question is a moving object covers equal distances at equal periods of time. So we have equal distances and equal periods of time. So we talk about speed, but what speed here? We talk about regular or uniform or constant speed. Constant speed. Okay? By the way, if we have to represent the non-uniform speed by using graph. So any graph of speed, we have two axes as we have number one, axis of distance and axis of time. In this case, we have non-uniform speed. Non-uniform speed. In this case, the body covered unequal distances at equal periods of time or vice versa. Unequal distances at equal periods of time. So هحسبها ازاي؟ أو we can draw this graph as a curved line because we talk about non-uniform speed. Speed why? Because we have distance and time. But the type of this speed is non-uniform because the object covers unequal distances at equal periods of time or vice versa. Next question is scientific term. We have the object or the total distance that a moving object covers divided by the total time taken to cover this distance. We have total distance covered over total time taken. So we have average speed. Next question. The value of the object speed relative to the observer. The value of relative speed to the object, to the observer. So we have to say here relative speed. Relative speed. Because the relative speed is the speed of an object relative to another object or relative to the observer. Okay? Next one. What is meant by each of the following? Question number one بيقول لي average speed. خلي بالنا بيقول ايه؟ average speed of a moving car 70 kilometer per hour. 70 kilometer per hour. طب هعملها ازاي؟ هقول له we talk يعني we should define average speed. Average speed which means total distance covered. كام equal how many? We have, yes, we have 70 kilometers. Okay? Over total time taken equal what? Time is how many? Is hour. يبقى 1 hour. Okay. So, dear students, time is finished today, and next episode, inshallah, we will talk about the graphical representation of speed, time, and acceleration. So, we have to finish this episode. Thank you. See you, and goodbye.